the geek world loses another shining light. We will discuss that, as well as 3 new trailers, our review of the first half of Season 10 of The Walking Dead, plus lots more on today's episode of the Geek Watch podcast.
This is the Geek Watch podcast with Brian Hatcher and Mandy Petrie.
Greetings, Geek Watchers, and welcome to episode 92 of the Geek Watch podcast. I'm Brian Hatcher, and with me, as always, Geek Watch's own resident geek goddess, Mandy Petrie.
Greetings, Brian.
So we got some new trailers, we got some movie news, and I think we will end the show today with a wrap-up of what we thought of this last half season of The Walking Dead. But before we get to that, we do have an in memorial for today. A major loss for the geek world in general, but certainly for the sci-fi world in particular, especially if you're a big fan of Star Trek, as I am, and I'm sure you are.
Right.
DC Fontana passed away on the 2nd of December this year, and anyone who's a big fan of Star Trek knows who DC Fontana is. Numerous contributions to Star Trek, was a story editor on the original series, wrote several key episodes for the series. Fontana was the one responsible for coming up with the whole idea of Spock being half human, and created the characters of Sarek and Amanda.
Yeah, wow.
And co-wrote the pilot episode for The Next Generation with Gene Roddenberry and Counter at Farpoint.
Wow, so that probably meant that she was in on the motion picture, or I'm sorry, what would have been the motion picture and then became phase 2, which they transformed into
Right.
Next Generation.
Yeah, and so wrote episodes for the animated series, wrote episodes for Deep Space Nine, including the episode Dax, where Fontana again established the background for Dax and the Trill and that character. Fontana was definitely known for, filling in a lot of the gaps in storytelling, bringing in, subtleties into the canon, and created a great deal of that canon. And also, besides Star Trek, wrote episodes for Babylon 5, Bonanza, Dallas, Kung Fu, $6 Million Man, a lot of these geek shows a lot of the old geeks like myself remembered growing up with. Was also a member of the board of directors for the Writers Guild of America, was a senior lecturer of the American Film Institute, taught classes on screenwriting, directing, producing, and the one thing, of course, that known for, I would say, is, and you've alluded to it already, was until a book on the background of Star Trek in general was put out, that was when a lot of people learned that the DC and DC Fontana stood for Dorothy Catherine. Not a lot of people knew that. And the reason for that, of course, was back in the day, there are certain genres of fiction that tend to skew male, shall we say.
Right, yeah.
And because of that, a lot of authors, and it's not just in science fiction, but very often, if you look at the titles of many authors in science fiction, fantasy, or that sort of thing, in genre fiction, sometimes you see the two initials and then the last name. And so, of course, it's not as bad now, he said sarcastically, but yeah, very much so, of course, went by DC so that people would just assume that she was a male. So they wouldn't necessarily write her off, because it's like, I got a girl in my sci-fi.
Or maybe like a man would have taken credit for, what she had done or something along the lines, or a woman would have used a complete nom de guerre, not even gone with the, I was thinking about George Sand.
Right.
Yeah. Just to be taken
seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But the thing, of course, is, the thing about DC Fontana is, she had as much, I feel, to do with what Star Trek became as Gene Roddenberry did. She added a lot to it. She was, in a real sense. And like I said, she created a lot of great stuff that, not just out in Star Trek, but, certainly she brought a lot to the genre. And all the things that we have today in Star Trek, I mean, her DNA is all over it. And this was an amazing loss for sure. But I did want to bring that up. And since we're since we're on the subject of women in genre, 3 trailers came out this week that I wanted to talk to you about. We got a new Doctor Who trailer.
Oh, awesome.
So we're getting to see a little bit more of what we have to what we can expect in this next season.
Yeah, as I understand, she's wearing a bow tie at some point in time, and
Yes.
that there has been quite an uproar of those wanting that to be her permanent costume now.
Yeah, well, you
bow
can
ties
definitely.
are cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, this is not the first time she's dipped her toe in the Matt Smith pool, because of course Kablam, she had the
Fez.
The Fez, exactly. Mm-hmm. But you do get this feeling from this that they are starting to go a little bit darker with this character, and I've seen interviews with Chibnall where he said that we're going to see parts of the Doctor we haven't seen before, and we're going to go deeper in Jodie Whittaker's version of the Doctor, which, for everyone who's been listening to the podcast, this is what I'm looking for. I wanted to see this because I did feel like there was a lot of setup in the last season, and we got really a more of a surface view of Jodie's Doctor, but we haven't been able to really unwrap the present, so to speak, and really delve into this character, and apparently that's what they're planning on doing.
Oh yeah, and finally, the writers they seen her, looked at the screenshot, heard her voice, and they know her timbre, her cadence, and they're like, okay, now we know who this Doctor is. So now let's see more. Let's get inside there.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing too is that they've also officially in this trailer announced when we will be seeing our first episode of the new season, which of course is New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
Which again, like I said, with the fact that they're going in deeper with the Doctor and they're putting it out for New Year's Day, it only confirms what I have known all along. Is that, most Doctor Who fans, well, I won't even say most I'll say there are some Doctor Who fans out there that feel like this show is about them, but it's not. It's about me. Just me, okay? They're doing this on my birthday. They're giving me what I want. Doctor Who is about me. Somebody shoot me.
No, call up the BBC.
Yeah, well, call up the BBC
job,
if you're upset about it. But by God, Doctor Who is about me. It's only about me.
So that's Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's not going to be on its usual Sunday.
Yeah. No, they're doing this, and I think that, of course, we got the
just to make it,
Of course, we got the Dalek episode. We got the Dalek episode on. But something else that we learned, of course, we talked about what might be a cousin race to the Rachnos.
Right, the scorpion.
Yeah, the scorpion
Rachnos.
thing. I found out, and I'm going to have to take a demerit for this because I don't remember her name off the top of my head. But for fans of the Sarah Jane Adventures, which was a younger spinoff of Doctor Who that had Elizabeth Sladen. Yes, the character that plays Ronnie, the actor who played that character on Sarah Jane Adventures, is playing that queen.
Really?
So she's coming back, which is kind of cool. I watched the Sarah Jane Adventures. I really enjoyed that series. Although
legacy casting.
Yeah, some legacy casting, which is awesome. So she's going to get to come back and play this new character, which is cool. Mm-hmm. But so I'm definitely looking forward to that for sure. And we did get a Black Widow trailer finally.
Yes.
Because we're getting a Black Widow movie, finally.
And, the big thing about Black Widow that we've been hearing for years is it's going to be the first R-rated movie. It's going to be the first R-rated movie. So my mind automatically went, oh, okay, it's going to be really dark, and it's going to be all about, just heavy, heavy drama and all this, childhood trauma and stuff. And then we get David Harbour, putting on his outfit and going, it still fits. And so I'm glad there's going to be lots of good comedy in this R-rated movie. So.
Oh yeah, well you get that. His Red Guardian looks like this looks like one of those characters that could very well steal the movie for sure.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, and we did get our first look at the Taskmaster, which looks with the bow and arrow. Yeah. So and we did get to see there was a small clip of the Taskmaster and Red Guardian getting into it. scrapping a little bit. And so, and of course, this all takes place in Budapest, and that's been the running joke in a lot of these Marvel films forever. What happened in Budapest, especially between Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Right.
So, this is just like Budapest. So maybe we'll finally find out what horrible, terrible stuff happened in Budapest. So, because, a lot of the scenes from the trailer, it's, you can tell, well, it's being filmed in Budapest. So I guess we'll find out. But also, just today, we got a new trailer for Mulan.
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah?
I have to say, it looks amazing. I mean, it has, and I mean this in the best possible way. When I say this, it has a feel of Oscar bait to it. It looks like Mulan, but a deep cut for sure.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of, just in the trailer, a lot of really interesting storytelling going on. And I'm very enthusiastic to see this one for sure.
Really, all I've seen are fight scenes, which just, they look like any Last Samurai. They look just like you would expect out of any battle-heavy movie.
Oh, yeah. And I love those old samurai films. I really do. And I think we're going to get some of that. But there's some really just in the trailer, some really interesting character development pieces that I think are going to be great to see on screen for sure.
Okay.
But again, I mean, I'm just looking at this. It really has that deep cut feel to it. I think there's going to be a lot of things going on in this film that are going to be more than just like a surface level storytelling. And I'm excited for that for sure. So since we're talking about movies, the rumor that will not die, the Snyder cut of the Justice League. So that, of course, we talked about before, there have been things popping up on Instagram, people wanting the Snyder cut. And just recently on his Vero account, and if you don't know what Vero is, that's it's basically it's like Instagram. They're trying to take over for Instagram, but Snyder has a Vero account, and on the Vero account, he posted an image of basically some film canisters, basically stating, "Is the Snyder cut real? Does it exist? You better believe it does." And again, I'm going to say, well, it does, but it doesn't, because that film isn't finished yet. There's still effects that'll need to be, they're going to have to pay people to finish the effects on this and all that. I know that seeing this picture, people are excited of the fact is like, oh, we're going to finally get this Snyder cut. And, hold your horses, people, because Warner Brothers is still going to have to pony up the money to finish the effects and cut this film. The other thing is that if you look at that picture of those film canisters and you look really closely, you see a running time. And that running time is 214 minutes, which is 3 hours and 34 minutes of a film.
I think about that. I'm like, oh, but then again, the people who watch the uncut Lord of the Rings, beginning to end, Hobbit to Towers, and so there are people willing. Oh yeah, they're willing. They want it.
Yeah, so. Well, certainly. But here's, I guess, my point to this is that if because of course the Whedon cut of the film was just around 2 hours. So if there's that much more footage, there's that much more special effects that need to be put into this. Honestly, the money it's going to take to bring the Snyder cut to be watchable at all, I mean, they're going to be putting as much money into this as they would put into just a regular film from scratch, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, or at least a small film. Maybe not, a huge, but certainly what you would put into a small film to get it produced, I think you'd have to spend that kind of money to get the Snyder cut to a place where you could watch it, which says to me that if you're going to do a Snyder cut, making it just a DVD or a Blu-ray or something, that doesn't make any sense to me. If you're going to spend the time and effort to do a Snyder cut, you're going to have to do a theatrical release to recoup your money. You're going to have to. And of course,
but then that 3 hour something runtime kind of.
Yeah, it hurts you in a lot of ways because, of course, when you have a really long runtime like that, you can't show the film as many times during the day because you just run out of time. And, Justice League didn't do so well. So whether the Warner Brothers is willing to put extra money in to do the Snyder Cut, I don't know. I mean, obviously, a lot of people are pushing for it, but I'm not against it happening. I mean, I'm not going to be upset if Warner Brothers decides to do the Snyder Cut. Now, would I watch it or not? I'm not sure. I think maybe, possibly out of curiosity, I'd probably have to be honest. I mean, I'd be in. I just don't see that going to be a possibility. I just don't. I just think it's to get it to a place where you could view it, I think is a lot more money than I think Warner Brothers is going to be willing to spend on it, for sure. But that doesn't deny the fact that there are a lot of people who are wanting it, and there's a possibility Warner Brothers might be willing to follow it if they think the demand is there. And so we'll stay tuned. Let's go from the big screen to the small screen, because Netflix has just announced for February 7th of 2020, we're going to get a series of Lock and Key, a live action series. You heard about that, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, and I saw the promotional picture. It looks great, and I tell you, Lock and Key's been sitting in my cart forever on Amazon. So now I guess I'm going to have to finally click on it and get it before it comes out, so that I can be ready for that.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Of course, I'm Joe Hill, his very successful comic book series, getting a Netflix treatment. Again, we've been talking about the streaming wars and everybody's going for content. And so the nice thing is there's a lot of great geek content out there to tap into, and Lock and Key is certainly one of them. And so the fact that, really soon, February of 2020, we can start watching this on Netflix. I'm telling you, it's I can't wait for that. Going to Apple Plus, I just started watching The Servant, the M. Night Shyamalan series. The one with the, in the trailer, you see that you see a family with a doll that the woman is pretending is a real baby. And that's about all that you know about this series.
Okay.
And I've seen the first 3 episodes of it. And the theme is basically, as far as I can tell, how weird can we make this?
Oh, okay.
Because it's like, just when you think this can't get any weirder, it gets weirder. I don't want to go
worse than Argento's Phenomena.
It's getting close. Because, and like I said, I don't want to go too deep in this because I don't want to go into spoilers, but this family hires a nanny to take care of the baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the husband's kind of leery because it's like, she's going to walk in, she's going to go, this is not a real baby, and, this is going to be weird. And so he tells her, he said, don't worry, when she's going to be, the mother works as a news reporter. And so they've hired the nanny to take care of the baby. And the husband he's like, look, she's not going to be here, so you don't have to pretend but she chooses to pretend. She acts like this. She takes this baby out on walks, changes it when nobody's looking. So whoever this woman is and who she is and her background is also not really we're not sure who she is for sure.
Mm-hmm. So the movie The Boy, based on the haunted doll, kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's Maggie from The Walking Dead. She plays the caregiver, and then she has to dress the doll in pajamas, and so.
Yeah, well, one thing I can definitely say, and like I said, I don't want to spoil this at all, because if you've not seen this series, you need to definitely check this out. But you think you know what this show is going to be about from seeing the trailer. And then something happens right at the end of the first episode, the pilot episode, and you're like, I've got no idea what this show's about anymore. Because they completely take the premise and turn it on its head. And you're like, I didn't see that coming. What the heck does this mean now?
All right.
So, and it gets, like I said, it seems like each episode is all about how weird.
One-upmanship.
How weird can this get?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, what's interesting is by the second episode, it's like, oh my God, her brother's Ron Weasley, the actor who plays Ron Weasley.
Oh, Rupert Grint.
Rupert Grint is in this show, who plays the brother of the woman. The doll is basically apparently the mother when the child died, she went into a catatonic state, couldn't talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
She was just like blank. And when they gave her this doll,
right, like dementia patients.
Yeah. They gave her the doll, and she came out of it and came back to normal. The brother, the brother knows what's going on. But like I said, when things get weird, you know, he becomes this point of normalcy where trying to help basically the husband figure out what the heck's going on here, because lots of weird stuff are going on. Lots of weird stuff. And it's just like I said, it's like you turn a corner and it's like, oh, there's more weird stuff for sure.
Interesting fact about Rupert Grint that I just learned. Favorite movie? The Stuff.
Well, I
the
think
1980s, you know, bad horror / comedy. I don't know what you'd call The Stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess he's having the time of his life in this weird horror movie kind of a thing. Well, I don't even know if you can call it a horror movie. It's just, it's very unsettling for sure. But there's a lot of weird stuff going on in it. And like I said, it's one of those, well, what are they going to do next? And that certainly got me dialed in to see what they do. One of the problems I'm having with a lot of the streaming series is that all the new stuff comes out on Friday. All of it. In Apple Plus, all the new stuff comes out on Friday. On Disney Plus, all the new stuff comes out on Friday. So it's like on Friday, you got all this stuff you got to catch up on. And of course, you know, I've been watching The World According to Jeff Goldblum. The thing he did on Denim was amazing. Trying to think if they announced what next this coming episode's going to be on, but I'm definitely looking forward to that again. And of course, The Mandalorian has been getting better and better. I don't know if you've been watching that at all.
I don't know. I don't watch it, but all the memes are still, you know, just on fire. You know, 3 episodes in, and we're still going to those memes. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's not going away at all. But here's the thing too. You know, we've been talking about when are we going to start getting our Baby Yoda merch? Yeah,
they should have had that ready months ago.
Well, here you go. We're getting Baby Yoda merch. It's starting to come. Well,
yeah, I was just telling Kevin today that I bet that let's see, Space Baby Gremlin is probably really popular on Etsy.
Oh yeah. Well, I did see a meme somebody posted, and the caption of it was, they regretted feeding the Baby Yoda after midnight, and they drew the face. They made it look a little more like the gremlin. But
Space Green Gremlin, because you know it's Disney.
Well, yeah. Well, the first,
gotta be careful with that.
Yeah. Well, I've already seen the first of. Of course, they call it the child because that's what. Well, the Mandalorian refers to him as the kid. Mm-hmm. But you know, it's the child, and so we've gotten our first look at a Funko Pop that's going to be the child. Aww. And there's going to be 2 versions of that. There's going to be the regular size Funko, and then there's going to be an oversized Funko, which I want to say probably is life size. You know, so we'll
make it tinier, but no.
Yeah, well, you know, it's like, and Mattel has already they're doing a Baby Yoda. It's going to be an 11-inch plush Baby Yoda, which you can go on Walmart right now and pre-order it for $24.99, but don't expect to see it until June of next year, June 1st.
Oh, okay.
But they're already starting the pre-orders.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see the first part of the of Baby Yoda merchandise.
Craze. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It'll be like the Cabbage Patch Kid.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing about it is, fortunately, it won't be like the Cabbage Patch Kid because I don't think any of this stuff's coming out in time for Christmas. So you'll have time in
Christmas in July.
Christmas in July for sure. Okay, so let's talk a little Walking Dead. Of course, we didn't get a new episode because it's ended up.
But next year.
Not until Well, that was the thing. It's like they've already announced when we're going to see when the next episode of the new season, and which is going to be February the 23rd, 2020. Okay. Which when I read that, I'm like, oh my God, we got to wait all the way until February of 2020. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's right. That's not that far away.
It's like 6 weeks away.
Yeah, it's only 6 weeks away. So Grandpa felt a little bit old there for a moment. But yeah, February 2020, not that far off. But again, I'm still sort of in the shock of, oh my God, it's December. Mm-hmm. I haven't quite gotten into that yet.
Well, I think it's the decade thing. It's really because I was just thinking, man, you know, this time 20 years ago, we were so worried about the computers going crazy at midnight on, you know, exactly this time 20 years ago was the Y2K scare, and that's
well,
amazing.
Yeah, back in those days, in my computer days, I had to deal with a lot of that stuff and all the panic. So. We got just a few weeks left until we get some new ones, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this past season and get some of your opinions on it. I mean, it seems to me, at least for the last couple of seasons, that, the first half of the season is always going to be the setup for everything and just get the chess pieces set into place. And then, of course, the second half is we've got the bowling pin set up. Now it's time to knock them down. So, and have you seen the trailer for the next half? Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
Well, I mean, they certainly hint up a lot of things. We do see a little more Negan. Of course, what he's up to, we don't know yet. So there's a lot of kind of weird stuff going on. I mean, like I said, we've got things set up with, of course, Michonne being gone. We have there's all this talk about we might see Maggie.
Right.
She might be coming back. Of course, they've already wrapped filming on this next season. It's already done, so it's in the can. It's just time to edit it and all that.
And this is a little bit off topic, but I did see where they began principal work on the Rick Grimes movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and there's been rumors that they might bring Rick back by the time that they end the series. So, because of course we talked about this before, we might get 2 more seasons, full seasons, and they're going to put this show to bed, and we might see some Rick Grimes before then. So we'll find out how that happens. But Andrew Lincoln did say that he had some regrets about leaving the show. But again, it goes back to that whole thing. It's like, how can they miss you if you don't go away? So some things definitely that I can say overarching that about this half season, is that we've seen a divide starting to form between, and it's like Daryl and Carol, they were the team,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It just, and the fact that, it seems like they're kind of being pulled apart, because of different things. And which is a shame.
I kind of feel like, they were the Maggie Michonne split. We've got to have a bit of division to have the drama that we need. And, and it has to mirror on the other side, which we see in the Whisperers now.
Right.
Was she a part of the conspiracy to begin with? Was Alpha playing her the whole time to get what she wanted? So we have to have a mirror on both sides to get that good drama, that good storytelling, which we are getting. It hurts us, but in the ultimate, that's what we need.
Well, the other thing too is that a lot of people have put forward that Dante wasn't the only spy for the Whisperers, and that if you look at the timetable, our music teacher's crush may also be a spy, because we do. I mean, and I was like, wait a minute, that's right, because there was a point in Oceanside when they found the mask, by Oceanside. We never got an answer to how that got there.
Right.
And of course, Michonne kind of, she did tell them in that one episode, hey, whatever you've been using to vet your people, you need to do a better job of it. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's been set up already. Like I said, of course, they ended it on a cliffhanger, or in this case, a plateau hanger, with a cave hanger, since they're deep in the heart of a mess.
Stalactite? I don't know.
Well, yeah, the stalactite's the one that's hanging.
Stalactite, yeah.
Yes,
hanger.
Yeah, there you go, a stalactite hanger. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of threads that they've started. Like I said, the whole thing with Negan, what's he up to? The whole issue with where's Michonne going? Who's Eugene been talking to? What's going to happen now that Michonne is gone? Is she? Are they bringing her back? We already know that she's leaving the series. Are we even going to see her? Are we even going to get a chance to see her in this next half season, or is she just going to be gone for a minute? There are a lot of questions to be asked for sure, and a lot for them to develop in this next half season. Now, whether they're going to settle everything with the Whisperers this next half season, I'm not sure. I wouldn't think so, because there's a lot of stuff going on. There's certainly a lot of material to pull from the comics. Of course, they change it when they bring it to TV. For example, Dante in the comics was Maggie's boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Never got a chance to meet Maggie in this world. So, because of course he's gone, and good riddance. But he wasn't nearly, the same. Well, he certainly wasn't the same character as he was in the comics, for sure. to do that twist and change his character up and make him a spy for the Whisperers was something, is an interesting twist for sure. Mm-hmm. But as far as what they're going to do next, I mean, they like I said, they've developed a lot of threads they can start looking at. So, is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to in for this next season? Some things that you're hoping that they'll develop.
I'm really just looking forward to, it coming back and seeing where all this is going. Know, every single one. I want to know, Alpha's grand scheme. I want to know where Michonne's heading. So I want to see Carol and Daryl's, resolution. So
yeah, and is Judith and RJ going to be okay now that in a sense that they've been?
I know Michonne kind of pulled a Laurie.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I mean, that was something we've been talking about, is that we knew that Michonne was going to be leaving the series, Denai Guerrero was leaving the show. What were they going to do with Judith and RJ? And because it's not like Michonne is just going to walk off and leave them. Mm-hmm. She kind of walked off and left them.
Yep.
It's like, not saying Michonne's a bad mama and all, but I mean, obviously she can't take Judith with her, but I have to think that she's going to be coming back at least for something, To me, it would not be satisfying if this is the last we see of Michonne in The Walking Dead, at least for now, unless there's some sort of, unless there's some, like I said, some sort of tie-in to the movies at this point. Because there, of course, was all those rumors that Michonne was going to be a part of the whole Rick adventure. And so, at least to explain what's going on, maybe it does turn out that Michonne's gone. So, I guess we'll find out for sure. We're coming to the end, of course, of the podcast, but of course, we have been talking about, and I'll just mention this briefly, because it's going to be starting this week. We've been talking about the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it's starting this week, starting with Supergirl on December the 8th, and then, of course, we get Batwoman on the 9th, and then The Flash on the 10th. So the first part of it will be the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th, and then, of course, we have to wait until January for the last two, which I guess they say is going to be like a two-parter. So I'll be catching that. I don't watch the CW shows really, but I do watch their crossover events. It's kind of weird how that works out, but I do. I've been seeing a lot of the pictures. They had Brandon Routh as, of course, the Kingdom Come Superman, holding Supergirl Superman by the neck and not sweating it at all. So... people are saying that Brandon Routh, his version of Superman is just mesmerizing, which I'm glad to hear, because, of course, when I saw him when he played Superman in the movie, not so much. It wasn't the best Superman movie, we'll just say. But they're saying he's really knocking it out of the park as Kingdom Come Superman. And, of course, I've seen a picture of Kevin Conroy as Kingdom Come Bruce Wayne.
Aww.
And yeah, seeing him playing Batman live is that's worth the price of admission for me. But to see him in all the gear, basically, all the braces and everything. I don't know if you've ever read Kingdom Come. Great series. I'm gonna have to let you borrow it. But that whole storyline is crazy. I mean, it's one of the few times where I felt like you could take the Justice League and kind of make them feel like the Watchmen and to a degree, and it works. There's a lot of great stuff there, and so getting to see that incorporated into this series is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to catching that. And I think maybe the next time we're up, of course, after since I've seen it, we'll definitely talk about it. So look forward to that. And so, with that said, we come to the end of episode 92 of the Geek Watch podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Listen next week for the latest in geek news and views with the Geek Watch podcast. For Mandy Petrie, this is Brian Hatcher, reminding all the Geek Watchers out there, we're all geeky about something. Be proud of yours. See you next time. Thank you for listening to the Geek Watch podcast. If you enjoyed this program, don't forget to like and subscribe on your preferred platform and share this podcast on your social media. For links to all the ways you can listen to the Geek Watch podcast, as well as leave comments and suggestions, visit our website at geekwatch.net. The Geek Watch podcast is a Hanging J production.